The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program, and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And CJ's got his scooter. I don't know if he's going to give us a shot of it, but CJ's got his scooter. But welcome. We've had a pretty good week this week. We've had two city council debates, and we always tell you to, don't just listen to us. Learn, educate, research the candidates and listen and examine their platforms and look. And I'll tell you, I hope you all watched, and if you didn't, if it's replayed, make it, take the time to watch those city council debates. They were very enlightening. We had some people who were not very well known, who really shined during the debate. They had some very good ideas, good answers, and they were, in fact, they were quite impressive. Some of these these new candidates really showed that they are, they are prepared. They have ideas, and it's not the same old thing. And then of course we got to see the comparison of the old guard and the new guard, and we had the old guard, spewing the same old, Fall River's great, we don't have a drug problem, and we don't do this, everything, we're moving forward all the time, and I'm going to die with my sandals on, fighting for a beach and things like this, and but it's it's good, it was really good, and I think if you didn't see it, you should. And if it's replayed, look, because there are some people that really kind of just jumped right out at you when you listened to them, and they didn't have a lot of time. And while we're on the subject of debates, we have tonight is the People's Debate. Don't forget, 6 o'clock, Cuss Middle School. We're going off right on time, and hopefully it will be good. All the questions were submitted by the people. This is why it's the People's Debate. I mean, some people may think that we had something to do with it. Maybe they're just viewers, because some of the questions are kind of like, okay, but they're relevant, and we're gonna say this today and tonight. But we appreciate everybody who submitted a question, and if we didn't get to your question at this debate, it will be used in the final mayoral debate. That's going to be on, I believe, October 28th. Is that correct, CJ?
Yes, Chip. We have it already scheduled for October 28th, 6 p.m. at the Morton Middle School. And questions for that debate will open up to the same email address at debate@scstronline.com. And we will open those questions up tomorrow. And we look forward to tonight. In regards to the two city council forums, I have to say very clearly, I couldn't agree more with Mark Monroe-Dion in his commentary after the first debate, which, by the way, out of the two debates, the first debate on Monday, or the first forum on Monday, was probably the better of the two. But if this is the best that Fall River has, whose fault is that? I know it's not the candidate's fault. I mean, you obviously have your regulars that run every year, and they're going to run for every office under the sun. And I'm surprised that a couple of them didn't run for charter commissioner at the same time. But
don't give me any ideas.
Well, it's too late. The charter commissioner closed this week. But it's just very interesting to see. But when you look at these candidates, and I'm going to call them out, and I'm truly going to call them out. When you look at people like Pat Casey, whose claim to fame is that she is going to die trying to get a beach in Fall River. And Linda Pereira turning around saying, we have all this water and we have no way to get to it. Whose fault is that? That's your fault, Pat. That's your fault, Linda. You guys have done nothing. Or let me say, according to city council speak, you guys did this to them, okay? You did this to them, guys. You did it, nobody else. Because this is the way it is. You have the power. And if I hear from one more incumbent that we have a weak city council and a powerful mayor, I'm going to shove in their face exactly what power they have. Because you know what? They lie. And they lie blatantly to you. If the mayor proposes something and you, as the city council, do not fund it, it does not happen. You have the strongest power of all of them, the power of the checkbook. Look at what Attleboro did, and you'll see how much power that is. Because that's crap. That is a lie. And I'm not going to buy it for a moment.
Well, CJ, you're right, and I'm glad you know. And people should be angry. I think that and you know I always call them like I see them, and I think that you know, Danny Rigo's closing was pathetic. It was pathetic. He starts out by saying everybody is trying to do the best job they can and represent you. If that's the case, why should we have an election? Just pick them out of a hat because everybody's the same level of effort, and then he tries to duck out of the responsibility for voting for a budget that included more fee increases and tax increases, when last year he went on record as saying he wouldn't do it because of the bags, and now he's saying it was because it wasn't transparent. And he tries to just completely absolve himself of any blame by then going to the, well, we have a government that has a strong mayor and a weak council. Bull. Yeah, you're right. The mayor is the executive branch. But guess what? The city council controls the purse strings. If the city council doesn't approve the money to do anything, we don't do it. And the city council has plenty of power. And even if you were right, Danny, which you want, you're right structurally, euphemistically, they're weak, but they're not weak. Because number one, you control the purse strings, and number two, even if you didn't, as a representative of the people, you should have the courage to stand up and fight the mayor when he's doing something to hurt the people, even if you don't have even if you can't do anything legally. You have a moral obligation to the people you represent to stand up and use your bully pulpit in the city council to call out the mayor publicly. You have an advantage none of us have here. Well, we do because we're on camera now when we can complain. But that's one of the reasons that we agreed to do this show. But let's face it, a city councilor is a city official. Do you think the mayor would proceed with some of his harebrained ideas? You think he would have proceeded with this if the council would have stood up and said, enough taxes, enough fees. Let's shrink government first. Let's get rid of some of the fat. You haven't done anything. But did you do that? No, absolutely not. And I'll tell you what you succeeded in doing, what you closed last time. You got me never to vote for you again.
You know, Chip, the problem is this, okay? The mayor meets in order to not violate the open meeting law, Mass General Law 38, with each individual city councilor individually before he proposes anything to the city council to get his votes in order. We know this, you know this. This is no big secret. But then they all get upset when these things come down like they've never heard them before. Again, this is how they lie to you. And we know this. We know the meetings that happen. We know what goes on in those meetings. And every single one of those city councilors, from Pat Casey to Jaisal Correa to Steve Long now, okay? Mike Mioza, Ray Mitchell, they all, especially the son of sellouts, we know. They don't even have to have a meeting because the mayor just says chalk, 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 chalk. But they all meet, so they all know what's coming down. All right? And then for Linda Pereira to come out in her speech to say, this is all about compromise. This is all about compromise. I pay $1,000 a year. Oh, I mean twice a year for trash. Meanwhile, there's a rumor that she's privatized her trash. So what's actually happening? You support these things so much, okay? Yet you're the first person, Linda, to turn around and say, I will not pay one fine or fee for my tenants. I'm sick of paying the bills for everyone else. So really, what is happening?
Well, what's happening, CJ, is, as you said again, this is why we continue to beat them with a hammer, because the fact is that, you know, they mislead, they manipulate the truth. You know, Linda Pereira has the ability to raise her rents, and every other person in the city has raised rents. People are now having difficulty paying their rent. People are having difficulty paying their taxes. And, you know, Mike Mayoral said it at a council meeting more than once. The mayor proposes and the city council disposes.
Correct.
Now, they could dispose anything the mayor sends down to them in the circular file, because by not funding it. So listen, you know, it's Coney Island time, Coney Island hot dog time. It's chow mein sandwich time. It's drinks on the house time. It's shake hands and slap you on the back time. And it's time to try to make you forget that this is exactly what they do. CJ hit the nail right on the head. They talk double speak. I'm tired. I paid $2,000. Well, she's still complaining about paying it, and you can transfer that money over to your tenants. And secondly, you got enough money to own property. So you're not one of the people that's on a fixed income, that's barely hanging on to their house, and has to choose between prescription medications, food, and paying their tax rates and their fees. You know, and then the old, oh, well, you know, we didn't know about this till the last minute. As you said, the mayor meets with everybody. They get all their votes. And then we get down to the bottom line. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it anymore. There's nothing we can do about it. The mayor's the strong guy. No, he isn't. He sends it down to you. You can tell him, hey, forget it. You're not doing this. And like I said, even if you couldn't do that, which you could, you should. I want somebody sitting in those seats that has the courage to stand up. And as I said, you can call me negative. You can call me anything you want. Just don't call me late for dinner. You know, but the fact is, I want somebody who will support 100% anything a mayor sends down that is in the best interest of the people of Fall River and the taxpayers. But I also want that representative to oppose 100% effort of opposition in anything they do that is having an adverse effect on the taxpayers of the city of Fall River. And this is what's happened over the past 20 years to this city. We have just murdered this city. They have assassinated, they've ruined it with their BS and their stories and the catch-22, the circle jerk. Everybody blames the other guy. Oh, it's his fault. It's the mayor's fault. The mayor says, oh, the city council approved it. Oh, oh, it's not our fault. It's the Board of Health. Oh, it's this, it's that. You know, it's all your faults. And it's our fault for voting you back in. And this has got to stop. This is the whole point of this exercise in futility, that we have to stop this madness. You know, there was a time, and I believe one of the council candidates talked about a time in Fall River when people had jobs and we had restaurants and we had stores, and I've talked about that numerous times. They weren't the greatest jobs in the world, they were jobs, and people had money, not a lot of money, but they had enough money to go out and eat on Friday night and go down to a men's shop and buy something once in a while and buy clothes. And there were stores in Fall River on Pleasant Street. But what's happened? They have had this relentless assault on the taxpayers. And not only was it a relentless attack to just take as much as they can, their philosophy is tax and spend, tax and spend, tax and spend. But now, to throw salt in that gaping wound that they've opened in the people of Fall River, they've cut all the services.
And you know, Chip, I think it was interesting about that comment about when we had jobs. That was all around a tourist director. And of course, you have the, nitwitted 9 who are running for re-election, who all stand by, yeah, we need a tourist director, we need a tourist director, we need a tourist director. And the candidates turned around and said something that is obvious to you and I, and 90% of the population of Fall River. A tourist director is not going to solve the problem. Because what are they going to sell? A heroin city? Are they going to sell a city of unemployment? A city with trash on every street corner and cigarette butts on South Main and Rodman Street? You've got to first get the jobs. You get the jobs, the economy starts to bolster, then you have something to sell to people on the outside. It's not like we're ever going to compete against Cape Cod or Newport, but you know what? People may say, hey, they got some decent restaurants, they got some nice shops, they got a couple of things to look at, maybe we'll stop there. Their crime rate's down, things are looking good, it's easy to get around. But until we do that, we don't need to look at hiring more people. Remember, people, hiring more people, hiring people to do jobs which sound wonderful, is spending your money. They're reaching into your pocket, your checkbook, your pocketbook, and they're writing the paycheck for $100,000 from some friend who has no experience, which another candidate brought out, that at one time in Fall River, we hired people who had experience and a background for these jobs. Now we just hire any idiot who makes the right political contribution to the mayor. Or to the city council.
Well, you're right, but that's it. We have to rein in the lunacy, and it's been getting worse and worse every year. And we have to get back to being realistic. You know, the first thing you do if you're going to be successful is you have to be able to be objective and look at reality. You know, if you're a dwarf, you're not going to be a 100-yard dash champion in the Olympics. You know, I mean, look, that's a reality. You know, I'm not being anti-dwarf here before the dwarf community attacks me here. I'm just saying that.
Prefer it to be called little people.
Little people, okay. Well, whatever. I'm not, I don't know what the, I've never been one for a lot of political correctness anyway. But the fact is, look, I'm just using that as an example. But if you got legs this long, this long, you're not gonna be a 100-yard dash guy. So but Fall River, Pat Casey, we have to get a beach. Really? I mean, we're what, 12 minutes from Horse Neck? You're a half an hour from beaches in Newport. And what is the beach going to do? What is the beach going to do for the economy of Fall River? Are people going to go bypass Horse Neck and Newport to come to some beach on Cook Pond? And when they get out, they look like the Toxic Avenger? I mean, come on. What is that going to do? Let's put this in perspective. Let's think about the idiocy of some of the things these people come out with. Tourism director. Really? Forget about it. It's like, what tourism? How many times do we have to tell you that we're between Newport and Cape Cod? The two largest tourist destinations in southeastern New England. Yeah, people are going to stop in Fall River because we've got so much to offer. Really, we're going to out-tour Newport. We just went over on one of the other shows. Their gross went up 36% this year. People are flocking to Newport. They've got tons of hotels. Look, tourism director, baloney. Tourism should be part of an economic development policy. We're going to earmark and give some guy $100 grand to be a specialist in tourism in a place that will never be a tourist destination. And this is the kind of stupidity that they shove down our throats, all while they're singing, God bless America, waving the flag, and showing you apple pie, because that's what they do. They want to convince you that, oh, Fall River's beautiful, and we're all look what we're going to make Fall River. Well, you know something, like I said before, what Brock Lesnar said on The Ultimate Fighter, You can't make chicken salad out of chicken shit. And, you know, and the problem is what Fall River's got here or had here, because Sam keeps talking about our tremendous workforce. Well, most of that workforce is now in Somerset, Westport, Swansea, Dartmouth. They're gone. I mean, look at the unemployment statistics. The fact is, most of the people we've got left here are unemployable because look at the housing. We've only got 37% of the people, and that's going to decrease because I've seen more for sale signs than I ever have in my life in this city. We've only got 37% of the people who own property in this city, so most of our workforce who earns a paycheck has left this city. What we have to do is bring them back. And we bring them back by making this city a city that you don't have to dodge 11,000 cigarette butts in the space of a half a block, that you don't have a... I just drove here, and I drove down County Street, and I saw 3 piles of auto glass on the street, which means that 3 cars last night got smashed and grabbed because it was right on the driver's side of County Street where a car was parked. They broke into my car a couple of weeks ago at the corner of Purchase and Bedford. Smash and grab. So we're gonna, you know, this is what we have for a city, and we want to pretend we don't have it. Well, let's improve the city. Let's clean up the city, and let's try to entice businesses in here and bring that workforce back. But it's got to be businesses that you can actually get, not these magic bullets, the casino, Amazon. Look, we had a shot at containerized shipping. And who got it? New Bedford. You know, it hurts to see a city that has always been our arch enemy. You know, Durfee versus New Bedford. You know, it really hurts me. We always had this attitude that Durfee was better, Fall River was better, and New Bedford's, our direct, our competition. And, but they're pulling in, they're pulling in some shipping now. They're developing that. We have one of the best deep water ports in the area. What have we done with it? Nothing. We want to make a beach. Instead of trying to bring in jobs that fit our workforce and create programs like partnerships with the companies to have internships and to get people trained and having training, they did it in Rhode Island. They trained people to be welders and they got them jobs at Electric Boat and places like that. These are things that actually work. They have worked. We're not reinventing the wheel. But this is what we don't do in Fall River. We sit here and, we talk about champagne when we can't afford a draft beer. The people who govern this city are rich, unrealistic, and they frankly don't care about the fact that the majority of the people in this city are poor. And the average income is under $25,000 a year because they're making a lot of money and they live in the North End. The North End that gets all the CPA. I'll bet you if you go to the North End, you can't find a street corner with 11,000 cigarette butts.
Yeah, funny, Chip. But it's interesting because when we look at these forums, one candidate, Richard Cabaceres, he believes that he has the experience, he has the background, he has the vision. Because what this city lacks is vision. You know what, Mr. Cabaceres? There's a lot of people in Fall River that have visions, and they're on meds. I suggest you find a psychiatrist. Because I'm telling you, I don't want a plan that's going to be effective in 30 years. I want a plan that's going to make immediate change in the immediate future, in less than 12 months. And I'm so tired of hearing from city councilors and people, oh, well, government takes time. It takes a long time to get things done. Joe Camara verified everything I have said over the past couple of months and all the actions I've taken that I've been called everything but a Marxist for, okay? In that the city had a 10-year plan of marketing, 10 years, on how to market and sell the biopark. And then we get a new mayor who decides, that plan's not going to work. We're going to sell it as a casino. And then when the casino job failed, he went for a casino again in another part of the city. And that failed. And then he went for Amazon back in the biopark. I understand that Amazon would be a great addition to Fall River, a wonderful addition to Fall River with jobs, but not to sell the biopark, not to destroy that. $35 million investment in the infrastructure of that biopark by the Commonwealth's taxpayer, not the city of Fall River, the Commonwealth's taxpayer. And this administration and the previous administration had no problem with stealing that money, stealing that land, and the Fall River Office of Economic Destruction and the Fall River Redevelopment Authority had no problem with stealing it, even though in their own regulations it says no retail shall exist there. None. But they have no problem doing that. Amazingly enough, thank you, Joe Camara, because after your comments were made, all right, my phone rings off the hook from various state offices and state officials wanting a follow-up of the complaint that I had filed several months ago, because they were meeting the same road that I was. Everything's referred to Carol Fiola, everything's referred to the mayor, both of whom don't want to touch it. And the city council voted for it because if they didn't, then the voters wouldn't vote for it because they would say they're against jobs. Guess what? They're not against jobs, they were for the law. And that's what you people don't understand. Just because it suits you doesn't mean you violate the law. The law is the law. It's the same law for the rich and the poor. The only difference between them is the rich don't live under bridges. Okay?
Judge Dredd.
Yeah.
The law. I am the law. All right, no, but seriously, vision. Look, I don't have to tell you this, CJ. You're a nurse. You know, the first thing you got to do is stop the bleeding.
That's right.
You know, I mean, you know, you've got to stabilize something before you can improve it. Okay, and you know that visionary plan is not based in something that's actually doable. That's bull. But what we have to do is be realistic with our vision, but also address the problems today. The excuse that it takes too long is an excuse. 20 years ago, they had a 20-year plan. If you go back 20 years, we can look at city council meetings, and they were saying that in 20 years, this place was going to be a metropolis. We were going to be, this city was going to be so great. Just give us the time to do it. Well, the problem is, just like they always kick their debt down the road and impose debt on us, they kick that vision down the road. Now, 20 years ago, they said this place was going to be great today, and it's worse. And now they're saying, give me 20 or 30 years and it'll be great again. Well, guess what? We don't have that kind of time. We'll be in the receivership. And when you see that, pay attention, look at those debates, the city council debates. A couple of these newcomers really shined. They had some good ideas. And
I agree.
And don't forget to go to the people's debate tonight and listen to our mayoral candidates. And hopefully everything will... everybody will respect everybody else, and we'll allow them a forum for everybody to express what their vision is. And I hope it's not double vision.
Well, in the last few moments that we have, I did say that we would give another ad out there, and that is for a fundraiser for Murder on the Grill. It will be held at the outside of the old restaurant, Red Cedar Restaurant, down by Jerry Remy's. It's $40 a ticket. It's coming up this Saturday. Please come out and support our youth theater companies, and they need all the money they can get to make this happen. And we bring that to you, of course, to make that happen. And of course, we have the People's Debate, and please be sure to come out tonight. We want to hear you, and we want to hear from you. All right, this is what we have in Fall River, so let's be sure that we do these things, because without them, we're in trouble.
That's right. Stay angry, everybody.
And please, continue to watch Spindle City Straight Talk, and we'll see you tonight on the debate. Have a great day, everybody.